Well, I'll tell you this story which helps anybody who wants to get into being an influencer or influencer marketing, really understand the value of it, right? So, and he was going at me, really kicking off. I thought he wanted to fight. Why
had he seen your video?
He'd seen the video saying, "You're the guy, aren't you?" Saying that us builders are rip-offs. And looking back, having worked doing those handyman jobs for people, I actually feel a little bit guilty.
I know a lot of builders now are actually starting to charge for a call-out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think they should. I was so obsessed with this house renovation. I literally was dreaming about it every night, like what I was going to be doing the next day. I was living it. It was freezing cold down there. We couldn't keep the heat in. We were freezing. And I was just like, I've got to get an extension built on this house. It's got to happen. Well, I am guilty of doing something that I didn't want to do when I first started, which was...
So we're back on Series 7 and we have a really big, fantastic guest on tonight who was sort of, how would I describe it, blown onto the scene. Blown or exploded?
Exploded, maybe.
Exploded sounds better, doesn't it? And you came onto social media only in 2023?
Yeah, well, I'd started on TikTok a bit before then.
Yeah.
But yeah, Instagram in particular, 2023.
Instagram 2023. And you have now, how many followers? Because I was trying to count it before you came on.
You know what? I know this sounds big-headed, but it changes every day. Yeah. It was 388k last time I looked.
That was on
Instagram.
On Insta.
Yeah.
And then, are you on any other platforms?
Yeah, TikTok 165k.
Yeah.
YouTube 22k. I'm actually going to give YouTube a bit of a push this year, and then Facebook, which is about 19k
in a year.
It's bonkers. It's been a crazy year. A crazy year.
So I love to get people onto the show, not necessarily with the amount of followers that you've got, but people where I look at their social media. A, I really love their content. B, I sort of think they're going to bring something to the show. Obviously, to get to that size within a year, I feel like a lot of people that are listening and watching, lots of people want to do social media these days. It's an important thing to A, get business, but B, for your own personal brand. So I always think it's good to get people on that are marketeers in essence, to sort of help people that are listening and watching to this, to help them grow their channel as well. Because a lot of people don't know where to start. So what we tend to do at the very start of the show is we get you to take us back to life before sort of social media.
Yeah.
Were you academic at school? Did you leave school with any GCSEs? What did you go and do in between?
Yeah.
And sort of how did you get to come to be where you are now, if that makes any sense? So give us a bit of backstory to you just as a person before anybody got to see you on the likes of Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah. Well, all of my life experiences, I guess, have kind of culminated in just what's happened in the last year.
Yeah.
So when I left school, like most people in the trade, they don't really know what they want to do with their life.
Yeah.
And, my dad is an engineer. He's always kind of taught me how to build things and make things. But when it came time to get a job, he kind of said to me, look, engineering might not be the best field to go into. It's hard work. Like, I've grafted all my life. You might want to try and find something a bit easier. Anyway, I kind of...
Normally parents try and push you to do something.
Well, he runs a very successful business. I don't know why he didn't push me, but I don't know. Anyway, so essentially I left school not knowing what it is that I wanted to do. I had these skills, but
were you academic at school? Or?
Not particularly. No, I got. I think I failed English the first time around, so I had to do it again.
Yeah.
I got maths a C, science a C, so nothing in particular really.
Yeah.
But when I left school, I needed some money, right? So and I needed a car. My dad said, "I tell you what, why don't we set up a tree surgery business? And I'll buy like the equipment, and you can just kind of get into the world of work that way, climb up a tree, start doing this job." And tree surgeons.
You're 16 at this time.
I was 16 at that time, yeah. And he just said, "Look, this is," because he's been a business owner all his life.
Yeah.
He wanted to kind of bring me into that world and see what it's like talking to people and earning money, like actually making a sale of some sort. So we literally built that business up. But I was young and I wanted to go out with my mates, and I was working at the weekends, and I was going to college at the time, and all I really wanted was the money to buy my first car.
Yeah.
Which, as soon as I got the money to buy my first car, I kind of turned to my dad and said, I know you bought all the equipment now, but
Can you sell it?
I don't really want to carry this on. And by then we were getting loads of phone calls from loads of people to carry on. But anyway, I kind of stopped doing that. And I took a part-time job at a local housing company called Aspire Housing. And all it was a dead easy job, but I took it because the pay was good at the time. And it was going round to all of their houses. They had like a housing stock of like 9,000 homes, and to take photos of their properties from the outside. So for a summer, I literally just did that. I just drove to a place, took a photo of the outside, and then looks a bit creepy actually. You know, so when I was 17 I was doing that, and it paid well. And then they said to me, look, you've got a really good attitude, why don't you come join us in the team? I was like, oh, I don't really know if I want to join a marketing team. It seems a bit, I didn't really know. So I actually signed up with a company called PM Training, which is it's like a local provider of apprenticeships in Stoke-on-Trent. It's not running anymore, which is really sad. But what they do, they take young people, they show them all the different trades. Like I think I did joinery, engineering, painting and decorating, landscaping, and honestly, it was one of the most. I think I did a week of each, and it was like the most fun I'd had.
I feel like this, like we talk about this quite a lot actually on the show, but I feel like this should be done within schools. I have this argument all the time with a lot of people, because when I was at school, and I'm going back a long time now because I'm 41, but when I was at school, it was never offered to you. Like you do DT, but you never get offered to do any sort of trades. And if you're not very academic, or you're not sort of, you know, you're not expecting yourself to go and become a doctor or a lawyer, I feel like it should be offered at school, something very similar where you can go and, you know, you can go and work with a company for a week just to see whether or not you're actually going to like that particular type of work.
100%, yeah. And the opposite way as well. So like with these apprenticeships, like they would see if they like you would see if you like them. And then at the end of those individual weeks, all of the business owners would come together and just say, we like this guy, he could come and work for us. After all that time,
which was your favourite?
To be honest, I think at the time it was painting and decorating.
Okay.
Yeah, but to be honest, that was mainly because of the lads there. They were a real good laugh, and we just kind of messed around really. We did learn how to do it, but we messed around. But I think the one that interested me the most was engineering, and it was just because I was so good at it. Like, you know, I don't mind being big-headed about that. I was really good at it.
Genetics.
But because my dad had taught me literally from a young age, you know, milling machines, lathes, everything. You know, I just kind of got it. But then, so after all these weeks have gone by, they all came back and said, we love Scott, you can come work with us. Okay, so I had this decision to make, and the only person that came to actually sit down in front of me was the marketing manager at Aspire Housing, where I'd done this photography, and he said, look, you've got to come with us. Like, marketing's great, you can learn so much about business, and we actually pay more, all that sort of stuff, and you're not out grafting all the time. So I was like, okay, follow the money. This guy's turned up for me, he says he really wants me to work there, so that's what I did. And the marketing career ensued, which actually lasted about 13 years.
Was that just specifically at Aspire, or was that different places?
I stayed there for 5 years, and they sent me to uni, paid for, which was absolutely a win. There's no way other to look at that than a win. So I got that, and then my apprenticeship trainee program thing came to an end, and I had to find another company really. So I joined a wine glass company that sold the world's most expensive, amazing wine glasses, which is local to my area.
Are they
crazy.
Good?
They're unreal. Once you drink out of one of these wine glasses, you'll never go back. It's crazy.
You have to give me the name after.
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, and then I went from there to a construction-based business, which was waterproofing for roofs, called Triflex, which was dead interesting. A whole new version of marketing that I'd never really got into before. And then from there was probably my biggest job, which was a commute to Wolverhampton from where I live, Stoke-on-Trent. And that was it was for a global group company that had all the different photography brands in it. They sold everything that wasn't a camera, so tripods, mics, all that type of stuff. And my job there was the marketing manager, and I would have to go to New York, France, Germany quite often for meetings. and it was just a whirlwind. You know,
How old are you at this point?
I was 25.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think the reason why I was able to get these jobs is because I started so early in marketing. So I got a lot of experience.
Yeah.
I'd also got the CV because I'd been to uni as well, which a lot of people my age, they didn't have both. They didn't have experience and they didn't have the qualification, and I had both. And I am quite ambitious as a person. So when I went for that job, I knew it was quite a big job, but I knew I needed it, and I knew I wanted it. I wanted that next step. I wanted to push myself further. And one of the first jobs actually for that group company was to go to New York, literally a month after joining, never been to the States before, and pitch the digital marketing strategy for the global digital marketing strategy to the owner of the business, who's £100 million, wealthy business owner, crazy sort of opportunity. And that went really well. And that kind of like cemented my place at the company, because the owner was like, you've had a great idea, we're going to do it. And then, you know, you're in. 2 years went by in that company. The commute killed me. It killed me. I just couldn't
People
get
don't
over it.
realise that, I don't think.
Oh, no. It was a 2-hour commute, and I had to get the train and everything, and it really did.
And then when the train doesn't work on
on
a wet Wednesday in Stoke.
Yeah. And, I was super ambitious, and I couldn't push myself as much as I wanted to, because I just wasn't, I just didn't have the energy, because I was literally travelling all the time. So I decided, I had a bit of money in the bank at that age. So I decided, well, I'll take some time off. And my mates really ribbed me for that, because like what 25-year-old says, I'm just going to take 6 months off. They were joking that I've retired because I started playing golf and all that sort of stuff, which, I just needed some space to think about like what my next move was, because I felt like I'd come to the peak of my career really in some ways, and I didn't really know how to take it further without being like a marketing director. And if you do that, you want to be in the right company for it. You know what I mean? You're selling your whole life really when you're in a position like that, which is great if you love the company, terrible if you don't.
Yeah.
So I took this time off, and in the meantime, whilst I took this time off, I decided to become a personal trainer. So I already had the qualification when I was younger, because I love training. And I love that. I love helping people achieve their goals, get into shape, all that type of stuff. But then COVID came. And I was literally one of those people that fell through the gap, that where the government were offering. Yeah,
if you just stayed at your job.
The government were offering some money for people who'd been in their business for 2 years, and I'd been in PT for 9. So literally, like, I was in rented accommodation. I was doing PT. I'd spent a lot of the money I had saved up in my bank account, but I was doing PT and everything was going okay. Gym shut, no money. Nothing. And I used all the rest of my savings for like literally surviving. And whilst I was doing that PT course, because I didn't want to just like sign myself off as that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, PT, I decided to sign up to be, an electrician. So I did I can't remember the exact numbers, but a domestic electrical installer course. And the idea was to just buy all the tools in the van with the money left in the bank and then go for it. All that dream died when COVID hit. So I was literally left with basically nothing, but at least I got my electrical qualification. And then to make matters worse, the owner of the rented accommodation we were in wanted to sell. Obviously house prices through the roof at that time. Also, what was against us is that you couldn't buy a house at that time either, because people were just gazumping. It was just like the market was crazy.
Because I think the stamp duty thing came in as well, where you didn't have to pay stamp duty up to a higher amount to try and stimulate the housing market.
That's it. So there was a battle for houses. I'm not joking. We were looking at houses, me and my partner, Nicole, and we literally looked everywhere. But when we did find a house that was okay, we put an offer in, couldn't get it. So it just so happened that my uncle's next door neighbour's father died. I feel sorry for for.
But you managed to get a house.
But he said their house is going up after probate.
Yeah.
Why don't you go have a look at it? And it was a massive stretch for our budget. Like it was so far at the high end, it was almost out of reach.
Yeah.
So anyway, we did go and look at it. It's an amazing house, and eventually, long story short, we ended up having that house, which is amazing.
Yeah.
It was a renovation house though.
Yeah.
And a lot of work needed to be done to it. A lot of work. And I thought, well, okay, if my partner's up for it, I can do some jobs around the house. Let's give it a go.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went through the whole process of probate and then the mortgage. And by the time it was all signed and sealed, we found out that my girlfriend was pregnant. Just as we signed into this big mortgage, renovation, no time. I think we were like 5 months before my son was going to be born from when we moved in. So we moved into the house in August 2021.
Yeah.
And my son was born in December 2021. Yeah. So that short period of time to get it livable. So I was doing a full-time job at the time, and I was so obsessed with this house renovation. Like I literally was dreaming about it every night. Like what I was going to be doing the next day, I was living it. Any spare second I had, I was on YouTube. I was looking for, there are some amazing creators out there who have been in the trade for millions of years, it seems, who know everything about the home renovations. So I'd spend my time learning and doing, and eventually I did manage to get the house to a livable standard by December, which is like
the problem is as well is you think, oh yeah, sort of I've done that, and then the baby hits.
Yeah, exactly. So like obviously me being a new father, not actually really thinking about what it's going to be like to become a new father, because I was so consumed with
tornado.
Yeah, it's a tornado. So you got the no sleep and all that type of stuff. And one of the worst things was I was telling you earlier actually, my son has never been a good sleeper. When he is asleep, he's okay, but he does not want to go to sleep. He's so switched on all the time. It's really hard work. So for a lot of the time when he was young, we would have to sleep in the living room with him, and one of us would sleep upstairs for 4 hours, and then we'd swap them over, because it literally was killing us both. So that was like a big highlight for me, just how bad the kitchen and the old extension was that was on the house, because it was freezing cold down there, even with the radiator turned up. I could see pound coins flying out the back door because the heating bill was that high, and we couldn't keep the heat in. We were freezing. I was worried about my son. I was sleep deprived, and I was just like, I've got to get an extension built on this house. It's got to happen. And I literally called around for some builders. No one was available.
That was the other thing as well. During COVID, you can get tradespeople for love or money.
No one was available. So I got through to like maybe 3 builders that could do it, and the prices were through the roof, and I would still have to wait as well. So they were coming in this extension around 35k, and I just did not have that money. I knew the bank probably wouldn't give it to me either. I just didn't know what the solution was, other than, well, if I make a start, then I'll try and find individual tradesmen to come in and just do parts. So like the bits that I definitely couldn't do, I could dig a footing, I might be able to get a guy to come in and pour the concrete. Maybe I could do it myself, I don't know. And then when the bricklaying comes, there's definitely someone who can do the bricklaying. Anyway, as time went on and these individual little projects, that's what I saw it as. Like the first project was digging the foundations. The second project was filling them in, getting CPR building regs at the time. I think they've gone into liquidation now, but they would come and they would sign off each part of the project. So the footings are deep enough, you've got the right type of concrete, all that type of stuff. And then I thought, well, I could do a few rows of bricks, just see if I can get it. If not, I can always kind of chip them off and start again, or get a bricklayer in, whatever. So I did that. I started doing the bricklaying, and I'd literally just spent my time consumed in YouTube again, learning. I've got a friend who's in the trade. He came round and he showed me a day of like, these are some of the tips and tricks you've got to learn as a bricklayer. It's going to take you a long time. You can't just learn it in a day. But these are the basics. And anyway, the wall started to go up, and I just got more and more confident that I could finish this thing as time went on. It took me 6 months in total to build it, and I was doing that whilst doing a full-time job. And I have no idea. Even now, I have no idea how I did it.
Ladies and gents, just a quick one to say a huge thank you to our new headline sponsor, CT1, the best sealants on the market, voted for by the British public. Not only that, it's made in Britain as well. So go and support a product and a brand that is made in the UK. But I just want to say to you, they've got a brand new product out, which is the BT1. It's a combination sealant and adhesive like the popular CT1, but it's perfect for keeping a hygienic environment. And it's designed to completely stop the growth of bacteria, microbes, and fungus. And not only that, this stuff is strong. Now, it's going to be available at Travis Perkins, Wickes, Jewson's, and pretty much everywhere else, so there's no excuse not to go and give it a go. So we're really happy to be partnering with CT1.
How can you do it whilst working a full-time job? The weekends, the evenings, the research. I was a shell.
Does the heating work? That's the main thing.
The heating's fantastic now. Honestly, it's it all got signed off by building regs in the end anyway, the whole build, other than when January 2023 hit. I'd built the external of the extension. So the roof was done, all the lead work, everything. It was sealed, and we could relax a little bit. And the newspaper got hold of the story, I think probably because I had a viral TikTok that was like 7 million plus about the extension. Yeah. So local media got involved, and I got loads of photos taken and everything like that, and that's kind of blew up my accounts quite a lot. I think I got 70,000 followers on Instagram.
Just off that one.
Just off that. Well, there was from 0 to 70,000 in probably 2 months, which is crazy. And really, my journey on social media, it really just started with TikTok. TikTok is a great platform for communication with other people. Yeah. And I was in situations quite often where there would be something I'd have to do on the extension, but I couldn't find the answer online anywhere. But I knew there were builders on TikTok. So I'd make a video and say, look, guys, I've got the biggest thing for me was using imperial bricks and metric blocks. Like I could not get my head around that situation.
It's a good job you got the maths GCSE though.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I put it out there, and I got some followers on TikTok, and I got quite a warm community there as well. Like some guys that actually respected what I was trying to do. I got a lot of hate as well.
Yeah, I was about. It's typical TikTok though.
Well, I mean, these guys have been doing it for a really long time. They've devoted their life to it, and then they see someone come along and say that they're giving it a go with no training and no previous experience.
Some people get really pissed by that, but I always feel like, if you've got a bit of knowledge, just drop it out to somebody. Well, especially somebody that's willing to have a go. It's the people that I could do that, and then they never do it.
Yeah. There's a big difference there, isn't there? I was definitely someone who was going to give it my all. I give it 200%. I didn't have 200% to give, but I give it that. And
I mean, how much did you, for anybody listening or watching, how much did you actually save on doing it yourself? I mean, obviously you didn't save your body or your weekends, but how much financially did you save? Do you think,
financially, the extension costs it cost under 10 grand, and the quotes,
25 grand.
Yeah, 25 grand. Yeah,
mental.
Yeah, it is mental. Yeah. I mean, would I do it again by myself? I mean, I say by myself. My dad and my uncle came round to help me with the big lifting and all that type of stuff. But even though my dad's an engineer, they're not really clued up on the building trade. They're two completely separate things.
I'm surprised you didn't say to him, well, you didn't want me to go into engineering.
I know, yeah.
You've just done that, mate. You would have been like...
I know. I've just kind of been... My dad's always instilled me with this thing, whereas if you want to go and do something,
just go and do it.
Just go and do it. Just go and do it. You can learn it. Anyone can do it. At some point, everybody is making it up. That's been a big thing for me. Realizing that a doctor isn't a doctor until he's literally had to treat people. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously they sign their oaths and stuff like that, but there's literally, you've got to start somewhere. Everyone lays their first brick or makes their first electrical connection. So that's where I was starting out, and as long as I got that building reg sign off, it was all going to be good. Those news articles that kicked 2023 off, so that was January, the 5th of January I think it was, and I ended up going on the radio as well with
Is that local or national radio?
National.
Was it?
Yeah. No, I want to say not
I mean,
Wogan.
this is another thing. Sorry to keep interrupting. This is another thing that when I'm on here, the amount of people that go to me, oh, all you ever do is bang on about social media. But the power of like you picking up a trowel, like building your own extension out the back, has managed to get you on national radio. Obviously, you got local newspaper.
Yeah.
And then you've added 70,000 followers in 2 months.
Yeah.
Like I just wish people would see.
Yeah.
Like that thing there.
Yeah. It's powerful.
Just how powerful it is.
So powerful.
Yeah.
So after those 70,000 followers, I was in a position where I'd got like 50,000 followers on TikTok at that time, maybe 60. And I got this 70 on Instagram, just catapulted out of nowhere. And I wasn't fitting in with the company I was at the time. So because of my career I was out of a job in COVID, I had to go back into marketing, and I literally just picked any company that was local that I could go for.
What was the thing that they were obviously getting annoyed with? To be like.
So I'd come from a very senior position in a big global company, and now I was just like a middle marketing manager in a smaller company that didn't have the systems, processes, or anything like that I was used to. And I don't know. I just
didn't want to change either.
I don't know, when you've been in control of something, and then you can't
take instruction,
and then I couldn't take instruction. Basically, yeah. No, but I'm a very ambitious person, like I was saying before, and I always want to be achieving something no matter what I do. And in this job, I just felt like I was doing the same thing over and over again. You know, like there was no excitement for me anymore. I was doing the same type of marketing I'd done for so long, and there was no room for growth either. I got all this social media stuff going on, and at the beginning of the year, it kind of all just came to a head. Like I wasn't earning enough money to support the renovation. I was stressed because I was working on the social media stuff all the time. And I just thought, you know what, I'm leaving. So I left in January, just as my account blew up. I was not earning any money off social media at the time. Like there was no brand deals or anything like that. But I just thought, I've got to use these skills that I've just built, like I've got this domestic electrical installer qualification. I've just built a house extension. I know my way around a house. I must be able to help people in the local area fix things for themselves. I've just got to put myself out there, just like when I was 16 doing the tree surgery. I've just got to say, hi, here I am, can I help? And I did that through a slight neighbour app or something. And I just started getting jobs. I just started getting like little jobs, helping people out. Like, I don't know, I was just fixing little things like little steps or building little cabinets outside for, to cover things up and all that type of stuff. I'd be working with my mates as well who were in the trade. So like one of my mates who's an electrician, he saved me big time, because he was like, he had all these jobs on and he knew he needed a little bit of help. And then all of a sudden I was there. And together we just kind of, fast forwarded all the jobs that he had, and it was really good for both of us.
Yeah.
And it was my first experience of being like actually in the trade, being in a van.
Was it like you expected?
It was way better.
Yeah.
After being sat in an office for 13 years.
Because it's weird, because obviously the stuff that you do now, in essence, is still a bit of sales and marketing. Because obviously you've got brands that you work with and stuff like that, and it's sort of gone full circle where you're still doing a bit of that, but then, I find it fascinating how people suddenly land on a trade and it's like it completely changes their outlook on what they do.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
It's crazy. I mean, like there'll be loads of people sat out there who are in the trade thinking, oh, wouldn't it be nice to be sat at a desk? And then there's a load of people on the other side who sat at a desk thinking, you know what, it'd be really nice to just go outside and breathe the fresh air for a little bit, because that's what it's like. You sat at a desk, you are chained to your desk when you're in an office job. I'm sorry for those that are in an office job, saying it like this, but that's the way I felt.
Do you not miss the marketing?
Do not be. I honestly don't miss it at all. I love marketing. I love communication. I love that. I love what it stands for, how it's done, and the power of it. That's why I really got obsessed with it when I was doing it. But I never liked the office environment, and the politics and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't for me.
Drama.
So exactly. So being on the road with my mate who's an electrician, doing these jobs just felt like the biggest breath of fresh air you could imagine. You know, I didn't care what jobs he wanted me to do. You know, chase that wall, get in that big loft up there in this country house that's full of spiders, you know, and just like run these cables. And, you know, I had a laugh with him at the time and just like, oh, I don't want to do that. But it was loads better. You know, I was on a real high and I still wasn't earning money from social media. And I was just paying the bills. Like, I really don't know how I managed to pay those bills, but we did. But we just got through it. And anyway, the journey goes on, and I have to kind of keep pushing the social media in order to be able to make a little bit of money out of it. And I said to
when did that really take off for you then? When did you? Because I mean, for anybody that does sort of blow up on there, when you get your first approach from a brand saying that we'd like to work with you, I mean, you know, again, for somebody listening or watching to this who potentially wants to go down that route, like how do you navigate that as well? Because if you've never really dealt with a brand, obviously you've come from the marketing side, so it probably helped you a bit in a bit of negotiation, because there's a bit of negotiation
100%.
in there. What do you want me to do for it and stuff like that? What advice would you give to somebody then that sort of their account's starting to tick up and you know, they might land somebody in the inbox saying, can you do this for me? What would you?
Well, I realised I was in a golden position. You know, I had literally been managing influencer teams and building social media accounts most of my career. So I'd seen that side of things. I'd seen how the company's budgets work, what they're willing to spend, what they want to see from a post to make it worthwhile for the business. And then I was on the other side. I was the creator, and now I could talk to the brands in a way that made sense to them, 100%. And essentially, I just did what anyone should do when they start a business, really, is make a list of things that they wanted. And there was a list of brands that I wanted to work with, made that list and thought, those are my goals. Who
was the one brand that you really wanted to snare that you work with now?
Ox was one of them.
Yeah.
And some of my mates in the trade, like they were wearing the Ox hoodies and using the spirit levels and stuff. And I saw them and I thought, that is a really cool brand and I want to be involved with them. The top of the list was DeWalt. Yeah. To me, DeWalt was like completely unreachable, but it's still on the list.
All the Milwaukee fanboys in the comments now.
Yeah. But I'd started off with DeWalt from the very beginning. Yeah. But like my dad bought me a drill when I was young, and it was DeWalt one, so literally just kind of started from there. Yeah. But they were on the list big time. And then there was just a couple of others, really, you know, General Tools, and I kind of messaged them. Yeah. Sometimes they messaged me, and it just evolved like that. And I talked to them in a way where we've got to make this work for both of us. You know, what do you want to see happen from one of my videos? Yeah. And I can hopefully deliver
a lot of
it.
brands in the industrial market, it's not like, obviously, fashion. We talked about Gymshark earlier being up the road. They're very new still to this whole way of marketing and the social media side of things, even though I feel like, because we've been doing it for so long here, I feel like we've been doing it for like 5, 6, 7 years, but some of these other brands are still just discovering it, so it's very difficult to sort of, this is what I'll give you, and they're like, but it costs £1,000 or whatever it is, and you're like, but if you were to advertise in this magazine here, it's going to cost you £2,000, but you're going to hit this amount of people. It takes a while to sort of. Well, did you come up against much of that, or?
Well, I'll tell you this story, which helps anybody who wants to get into being an influencer or influencer marketing, really understand the value of it, right? So when you join a company as a marketing manager, your goal is to make it shine in front of all its potential customers. Yeah. How would you do that? Video is one of the biggest ways to communicate with people these days. Yeah. So all I did was, when I joined this company, I thought I'll go and see how much it costs to get a video company to produce a video for my product. Yeah. And I went through all the numbers and contacted a few different companies.
It's not cheap.
And the average price I could get to, the rough price I could get to, was £4,500 to have that product featured in a video that could be shared on social media. Yeah. So you spent £4,500 on a video, and then you want to put it on social media, on your own platform. And if you haven't got very many followers as a brand, well, it's not going to be seen by very many people. So where's the value? You know what I mean? If you want to put advertising budget behind it, so more people see that video, another 1,000, another 2,000. Before you know it, for a business, the cost is racking up. Yeah. It really is. And obviously, you can try and go down cheaper video route, but it depends what brands you're working with. Some require a lot more investment, that type of thing. So anyway, I could then go and find an influencer who has got, say it was with advertising a kettle, you know what I mean? I could find an influencer with a kitchen that's absolutely outstanding. It's on trend. They've spent tens of thousands on it, and they will make me a video with that kettle that's better than any marketing or video studio will. Not only that, they also have the reach.
Yeah, so I don't have to. They've got the audience already. Yeah,
I don't have to put marketing spend behind it.
Yeah.
So straight away, it's a business saving. It's a business saving of thousands of pounds. So you can go to your marketing director and just say, right, I've just saved you 50 grand straight up from all the videos you want to produce this year, and this is how we're going to do it. And if you're an influencer and you want to work with brands, that's your superpower.
Yeah.
You're giving that company the best possible video they could hope for a fraction of the price they would have to pay a professional video company.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, professional video companies. But there's still a place for that.
Jack's up.
There's still a place for it because obviously some brands, premium brands especially, just need the proper cameras and all that. And obviously a brand communicating its own products needs to have a high quality video. So you can't really get rid of that, but you can definitely get some reach through influencer marketing.
Let me hold it there because I need to go for a wee.
Yeah.
Because I've drank that beer now and I'm just like... But where were we? So we were with brands realising that they can get access to your audience and for much cheaper.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just to back up what you said, when we were using an outside agency, especially to do like videos for us, and this is going back maybe 10 years, like some of the videos that we're doing costing us £4,000 because you've got to pay for 2 people to go out on location, then you're paying for their fuel, then you're paying for obviously the edit,
and
scripting, and then any revisions. So it's like it's a big expense
definitely
for a lot of companies. But so you've blown up on social, and you start to get a few brand deals.
Yeah,
sort of walk us through sort of what your plans are now going forward with the stuff that you're doing, and also sort of try and tell us what you would like for your own personal brand in the future. So what things have you got lined up that when we spoke to Mark Law and Stripes and Hedges, he was talking about wanting to do TV. Whether or not you've got any aspirations for that. So sort of walk us through anything that you've got coming up that you can sort of drop out, if there is anything, or anything that you would like to do. So if anybody is listening and watching BBC.
Well, there's been a lot of that. I mean, it was a really crazy year, 2023 for me, because obviously all these accounts blew up and it didn't just stop at 70k, it just kept on going. My mic's falling down here. It just kept on going. And I said to my girlfriend, we were sat on the sofa one night, I was just like...
Does she find it weird?
She finds it weird. She finds it really weird. Like, just...
My wife calls me an Instagram widow because I used to sit there for work.
Yeah.
Instagram widow, she used to call herself.
Well, this is it. I was spending the evenings doing editing, and she would get annoyed by that, but eventually she started to see where it was going, and she realised I had to spend the time doing it. Anyway, we got into 2023, the account just kept on climbing. I think I was about 130k followers by March, April time, which again is like doubled. Again, it's crazy growth. And I said to my girlfriend, we sat on the sofa, I just said, you know what? I need to learn about this whole industry. I need to learn about filming, TV, all that sort of stuff. I need to switch my mind onto this now. And again, that's that obsessive learning. Just like I was obsessed with the extension, just like I was obsessed with marketing, I now needed to know what it meant to become a professional influencer. And it'd be great to do some TV work. In some respect, it'd be great. Anyway, we forgot that conversation and we went on holiday. My parents saw the hard time I'd been through with building the extension. I had no money. So they paid for me and my partner, me and my girlfriend and my son to go away on holiday. And we were there on holiday, just enjoying life, checked my emails, and I had an email that looked the most fake email you can imagine from a TV production company saying, that would you like to be part of a TV show on Channel 4? I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds really good. And I didn't tell everyone at first because I thought that's a fake email. I've just replied, yeah, okay, that sounds good. Let's see what they come back with next. Well, we need your bank account details. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I did eventually end up saying, I've just had this really weird email. And wouldn't it be weird after saying what I said on the sofa just a couple of weeks ago, if that was a TV opportunity? Anyway, yeah, it turned out to be a TV opportunity with Channel 4. And they asked me to do this renovation program where I would work with a presenter and an interior designer to basically flip a house in 2 days. And it didn't feel real until I literally saw the TV cameras. Now they are a different proposition. Anyone who's seen TV, they're big, big lenses,
bigger than these. Yeah.
It's like and you've got a guy, it's on his shoulder, all that type of stuff, and they're right in front of your face with it as well. Now I'm used to talking to a phone on a tripod by myself in the back garden.
Yeah.
This brick goes on top of this brick. But this was completely different, and I had the presenter there, the whole crew, and I really wasn't expecting it. Like it felt so fake, until the day I was there. And then I was like, okay, well, I've got to throw myself into it now. So that was it. I just ended up filming all of these episodes for this TV show, which is, it's going to be coming out at the end of this year. It's going to be aired at the end of this year. And it was the most fun and eye-opening experience you can imagine.
Is that something you want to do more of, or is it something that you enjoyed, but you feel like it's not for you?
I really enjoyed it, and TV gives you some credibility as a person, like as a public figure. But in terms of content creation, all I want to do now is become a better influencer. And by influencer, I kind of mean content creator, because I find the word influencer a bit cringy.
Yeah. A lot of people do, but I think if you've got any sort of following, it's hard to get away from. You've obviously influenced people to watch your content.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? So 100%. I know the word influencers, like a lot of people, I'm not, but that is what it is.
Well, if I stripped it back, I had to ask myself this question, strip it back, what is it that I really like? Okay, I'm obsessed with learning how to build things, like woodwork, bricklaying, electrics, anything that I can get my hands on and learn in that space, brilliant. Okay, that's to one side. The next thing that I really want to learn is how to become a better videographer. How do I capture better video and audio and become really good in that space, and then combine the two to be an excellent content creator, not just on Instagram and TikTok, but on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
And because that YouTube platform is a big deal for me this year, I want to build that following, mainly for myself. And I think that's how a lot of people say, like, how do you...
I think the thing is, once you've done it on one platform, you then get actually, can I do it on another one? When you've done it on a couple, you think, right, okay, which is the one that I struggle on, and you go for that one as well.
Yeah, it is the one that I struggle on, but it's because I've spent the least amount of time focusing on it. And
it's the most time intensive.
It's the most time consuming, yeah, for sure. And a lot of people say, like, how did you manage to build such a big following? And, it seems to baffle people's mind. But really, it does come down to, you have to find something that you are actually interested in doing, regardless of the number of followers you've got.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds, thousands of examples. There's a guy called Casey Neistat on YouTube. He's one of the biggest YouTubers out there right now, over 10 million subscribers. And he didn't have a big following. I don't think he reached over 200k followers in the first 10 years of posting.
I think Mr. Beast was like that. I think he it took him a while to get to a certain total, and then all of a sudden it just...
Yeah, because you kind of crack it in your mind of what a video needs to look like, the pace of it, the audio, everything, until you get to a point where you can make pretty consistent, good videos that people like to watch. And that's what I want to be at the end of the day. So coming back to TV, if an opportunity comes around that's really interesting and exciting, I'll take it, but I'm not actively searching for it.
No. And what is your favourite trade that you do? Because you're obviously doing a bit of everything.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that you actually really enjoy?
So out of everything, I think it's woodwork.
Yeah. Everybody always says woodwork.
Because it's a work of art in itself. Like, it can be highly frustrating because it can go very wrong and then you end up with something that doesn't look very good.
Yeah.
But if you can get woodwork right, it is a work of art. And I'd love to get into that more and learn more about that.
This is always a good one. Who's one other content creator where you love their work, but B, you also like their content?
There's a lot. There's a lot of content creators out there that I take.
In terms of trade ones,
trade.
Who's one where you see their videos, you go, not only do I like the actual look of the content, but the actual work that you do.
Yeah, UK Home Improvement Channel. I know they've been on here. They are really
Brad and
ace
Phil
at
will be
what they
like,
do. Brad and
"Yes,
Phil.
Brad."
They are ace. They are proper good. I used to watch Lawn Stripes and Hedges religiously when I was doing my garden because, you know, he just shows everything and how to do it. He makes amazing content. It's always fun to watch as well. Puts good audios to it. There's some American creators who are a little bit more arty with their trades. So they create like sketches of what it is that they're going to make first, and then they transition that into the actual thing. And it is very much more social media glitz and glam rather than just solid trade work. But just when it comes to trade, like raw trade content right now, I think it's that Plumbing.
Okay.
I think that's he's. I just love the ASMR. I love the simplicity of and the speed. It's just I really enjoy it.
Easy to watch
stuff. Yeah. And I've been doing loads of plumbing because I've just done water underfloor heating.
Yeah.
And I needed to learn a lot about plumbing.
Is that the first time you've done it?
First time I've ever made a joint. Yeah. Sold a joint. So.
Any major problems that you found with it for anybody?
Problems with the underflow heating? No.
Problems with like learning to do that, like anything where you think, oh, I wish I'd have known that before.
There's an initial tool investment that you need to make. Obviously, you need to have like the right tools for plumbing, and if you get it wrong, you've really knackered your house. Like, luckily, my house is a bit of a shell at the moment. There's no real like expensive furniture or anything that can be ruined. But I think
plumbing with gas, like I just always think, oh, it'd be dangerous.
I would never touch gas. Yeah. When I say plumbing, I just mean for the water, for the sink and everything like that. Or
your toilet or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like that. But to be fair, it's hard work, man. I think plumbing is one of the most physically hard jobs. I don't find bricklaying that hard. I think you can get into a zone with bricklaying.
Bricklayers now.
I know, they're angry. As if it's not hard.
You've
Plumbing's
never
easy.
laid bricks when it's been raining all day, mate. Oh.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't. I'm a fair weather bricker. But I would say about plumbing is like you know you've got awkward spaces to get into. You know, there's water dripping on you.
You'll always have a customer.
Yeah, exactly. The heating is never on because you're working on the pipe. So obviously it's cold in the house or cold whenever you're working. And then your hands are cold, they're probably a little bit wet, and you're trying to take something off, and then bang, your knuckles are gone on some brickwork. And it's not very nice. I would not choose plumbing. I respect the guys that do it, for sure.
Are you wasting time? I think that some of you probably are, and I have a solution for you. Nobody wants to do any type of admin. Now, I have a solution for you, and it is called Tradify. It's a fully automated job scheduling, invoicing, and quoting all in one place. Now, that software is going to save you 12 hours a week, and all by using a simple software solution. Now, you can try it for 2 weeks, absolutely free, no cards needed, and you'll even get support in person from Tradify themselves. Now, when you're done, you can always come back to me and thank me, but just enjoy the extra 12 hours that you're going to gain from just using the software.
Anything else?
Would you like to work with any other influencers?
Is that something that you've thought about doing? Because I know like everybody's collaborating now, which I think's actually quite cool.
Yeah. There is some. So there's Skill Builder. Is like
Roger, if you're watching, mate.
He is an OG of the whole content creation building.
Have you reached out to him?
I've never reached out to him. But you know,
he's always up for
a fanboy.
He's always up for stuff like that.
I just think I've learned so much from him. Like when I was doing the extension build, like I would watch hours of his content, literally just from trying to work out every tiny little bit of detail.
The thing I like about the stuff that Roger does is he will always go into lots of detail. So if he's talking about an extension, the next week he's talking about the insulation, or he's talking about the types of windows, or he's talking about, you know, the houses where they're sealed airtight and they've got, you know, less moisture or whatever it is. And he's really thorough.
Well, I am guilty of doing something that I didn't want to do when I first started, which was when someone like Roger makes content that's very factual and useful for people doing these types of projects, it can be more boring on Instagram, TikTok, and all that sort of stuff, because it's not as fast paced, and it can't be. It's made for YouTube, I guess.
Yeah.
But now I'm on that other side of the fence where I'm doing these jobs. Like, I've just bricked up a window, I've just done water underfloor heating. If you watch those Instagram reels or TikToks, you'd probably wouldn't know any better how to do that job. And that's no use to anyone. So with my YouTube push, I'd like to be more useful, for sure. I'd like to do some projects with the home improvement guys, because we get on really well whenever we meet. I'd like to do something with lawn stripes.
I don't think I've met anybody really that don't get on with Brad and Phil.
Everyone seems like
Only when Jack's out. Sorry, Jack.
Well, to be fair, there's loads of guys out there I'd like to do collaborations with. I just want to have fun, to be honest with it. Just have fun and build some cool stuff.
Yeah, that sounds good. Should we do final thoughts? So round about this time, what we tend to do is you can either shamelessly plug yourself, or you can drop some knowledge, or you could sort of like, you know, tell us what you're going to be up to in the future, which you've done a little bit of, but it's completely up to you. So the floor is yours to just sort of, you know, if you want to give anybody advice for trying to get into doing it, or anybody that's stuck behind a desk, you can look down the camera and give them the, your life does not have to be
Just
like this. Whatever it is, you know, you can, you know, just whatever you want to, whatever you want to say.
Well, I'll start off with the thing that I think has got me through the hardest parts of all of the projects that I've done. And these projects have been big, they've been expensive, uncomfortable, because I've been living in the house and I've been completely out of my depth.
With child as well. Yeah.
And with child, and that can't be, downplayed. That's made it a lot harder. The thing that's got me through it, and I do say this a lot, and people message me on Instagram, TikTok, everywhere, asking probably, how did you do it? What makes you the type of person that can do a project like that? And I think I can boil it down to do the hard thing first. If you wake up in the morning and go, right, the really hard thing that I don't know how to do and don't want to do is X, Y, and Z, that is the first thing you need to tackle in that day. Because otherwise you'll just stand there and put it off and put it off and put it off, and it'll eat at you, and then eventually you'll just not do it. You'll just put it to one side, you'll just not do it, and then maybe you pay for someone to come and do it for you. But if you do it, the feeling of achievement that you get is just absolutely immense.
I actually said on a reel on Instagram the other day, I said, like, if you can like do problems and like get them done without them piling up, then you'll end up being successful. Because it's just, you know, I think that's really good advice actually, because everybody always wants to put off the things that they don't think they're very good at. Yeah. So if you hammer them first, like you say, then the rest of the project, you get to do the fun bit that you actually enjoy. But 100%. You actually find sometimes that the bit that you found really difficult actually becomes the bit that you love doing about those particular jobs.
100%.
So really,
and I'd also say as well, and this is a message to myself now as well, is stay true to the graft. I don't know whose saying that is, but basically...
Has somebody already said that?
I don't know.
You can coin that now.
I'll coin it. That's mine, actually. I'll put it on this hoodie next time. But yeah, stay true to the graft. So no matter how luxury your life becomes, so if I become a big influencer, I'll probably regret saying this when I'm, multi-millionaire. But,
see you in the Lambo and you're just like, fuck trades.
I know, exactly, but like, no matter how luxury your life becomes, you've got to stay true to working hard, because sometimes it's in those quiet moments when you are working hard and there's no one pushing you and the weather's not very good and all that sort of stuff, that you can really get a sense of who you are as a person. Yeah. You can really push yourself when no one's watching, and then feel good about it afterwards. And you've got that sense of achievement, and that takes you further in life, because at the end of the day, it's just about feeling good about yourself. That's what I'd say.
That's really good. No, well, I just want to say big thank you for coming on the show, and hopefully we see you double more followers by this time next year and doing
in a Lamborghini.
Well, if you do, we're all here and we all want a little ride
Yeah.
around in it. But yeah, big thanks for coming on and sharing your story, Scott.
It's been an absolute pleasure, honestly. I'm just grateful that you've had me here, to be honest.
You know, I always like, and this is regardless whether this goes on the end, I always like to have people that can talk about what they've done, because sometimes we do get people on and they clam up, which is fine, you've got camera on you, but I like people to come on and actually just be genuine with their story and tell people like the not so glamorous bits, the bits that are glamorous, and then sort of people get to see, well, actually it's not always going to be rainbows and unicorns, but actually somebody else has done it that's similar to me, so if they can do it, I can sort of I can do it myself, which a lot of people they'll say I can't do it before they've even tried to do it, which is probably what I'd do if I had to build an extension.
I've always wanted an opportunity to prove myself in any position I've been in at work or anything like that. And if you work for somebody else, you don't always get the say someone saying, okay, you go and spend all that money. But when it comes to yourself, it's your own house and your own time, there's nothing stopping you. You're the only person responsible then.
I mean, the other thing as well is like I lived in the house reno again, similar to what you did with the missus. I think he was about 1.5 and we moved into the house, and the missus wanted to do a room at a time, and this was during COVID. And I actually said, because I don't really do much DIY myself or like any sort of renovation really, and I said, look, if you do it like that, you're going to get one room that's done, and then when you move everything from the other rooms into that room because it's done, everything will get knackered. I said, you need to go at it. And I still remember like him not sleeping on nights, and then your missus is going at you, like the whole house was literally like plasterboard, like brick falling out, and you look at each other and you think, what the fuck have I done?
Yeah.
So people don't see that side either.
Well, I'm in that right now.
Yeah.
I've got plasterboard in the hallway. I've got no flooring in the kitchen. I haven't even got a kitchen.
Yeah.
You know.
But even that is like really hard when you don't even have like the basics to cook food.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we went through a stage as well, which to be fair, I didn't really mind, but I was probably living on takeaways for about 2 months. Yeah. So it's just like, it's absolute carnage in there.
Exactly, you've got to have the takeaways, man. I'm cooking it at the moment. I've got one of those.
So you save money on the extension and just blast it all on takeaway.
20 grand on takeaways, please.
Mate, it's mental.
I'm cooking on a little gas hob. It's like they have these little butane canisters, and that you use for camping.
The camping ones.
And that's literally what we cook on at the moment. And it's not great.
Yeah.
But, you know.
How long do you reckon until that bit's done?
Well, I don't know why I've decided to do this, but I've decided to make my own kitchen from scratch.
Good content, though.
It's good content.
Mrs. will hate you, but it's good content.
But I went to see a friend of mine. I was in the area. I went to see a friend of mine, Derek Barrett. He's an expert cabinet maker.
We've had Derek.
Have you had him on? Yeah. Oh, he's such a nice guy. And he took me around his workshop. And he's a proper expert. And he's got all the tools. And he taught me through what I needed, what materials I should use.
High Wycombe?
It's Aylesbury I was in.
Yeah.
So it could be close, But he taught me through all the tools, how much it was likely to cost in material, all that type of stuff. And I left that place feeling like, you know what, I could do this.
Because I think when he was on, he was talking to us about one of his biggest videos was that understair, was it wine rack or something like that, or for wine bottles that were all lit up and it was all
LEDs,
yeah. And he said literally I put that on and it went like a rocket. It's so weird when people tell you about those little moments within the social media sphere where you think that one video.
Well, that 7 million was the cost. Was the cost of my extension. Yeah. Because
other people don't know as well. They're trying to find out whether or not they're getting.
Well, that's where I got a lot of the hate from. You know, in fact, I actually got some hate in person. Have we got time to? Yeah. So when I posted that cost video, it got 7 million views, and I got everybody contacting me in terms of like media agencies, and I tried to make it clear that is just material cost. You know, if someone is going to do that, you got to factor your time. Or a tradesman's time, and that probably is going to be the most expensive thing because you're paying an experienced, skilled person to do it.
Well, they might have 2 or 3 people on
and a couple of people, exactly. So that's where the cost is. And when I post that people are saying, "Oh, see, these builders are rip-offs," you know, and all that sort of stuff, and he created this bit of negative sentiment. And I was trying to say, like, no, they're not ripping you off. The price is the good price that they're giving you. It's the materials. That's
Yeah,
all
well,
I pay
material
for.
costs at the time were
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I mean, $9,000. It would have been probably $4,000 the year before or something. But yeah, so anyway, I went on site to a site one day with my mate who's the electrician, and we walked on this site, and all I was doing was like running cables, like literally just labouring basically.
Enemy number one.
And a guy came up to me, an older guy. I'd probably put him around 60. He's like site manager, been in the trade obviously for a long time, and he was going at me, like really kicking off. I thought he wanted to fight. Like,
Why had he seen your video?
He'd seen the video saying, "You're the guy, aren't you?" Saying that we're that us builders are rip-offs, and I was like, well, I heard him out first. I let him vent fully, and then I was just like, you know what? I honestly think you've got the wrong impression here. Like, you really have. Like, I am annoyed that you spoke to me the way that you spoke to me. But if you think what you think about me, then I can kind of get it. What you need to do is go away and really actually watch what I've said, and maybe not listen to what other people have talked about in maybe Facebook groups or something. Because all I did was say that this is how much it cost for me to build, my own time, with the material cost. You shouldn't be losing any business in your building company because one man has decided to build his own extension and he's shared the cost of the materials. And anyway,
how many other people share the cost of what they're doing on there?
Well,
there's loads.
I think sharing the cost of I'm really sad, right? Worked in marketing, love Google Sheets, so I recorded every single receipt, including the screws, the nails, everything, into a Google Sheet to see how much that extension cost. Like, there was literally no penny left, and so I had a really accurate cost. How many even people in the trade would do that? You know what I mean? Like, okay, they've got all their receipts and they've claimed them all back and stuff, but to equate it all in one picture and then put it across in one video doesn't happen very often, does it? So you can see how much an extension costs in one video accurately.
I mean, I can understand if he was the guy that had quoted you for 35 grand.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, and you know what? Looking back, having worked doing those handyman jobs for people, I actually feel a little bit guilty about contacting these people, and then they spend their time, because it is valuable time to these guys, coming out and just having a look around and all that sort of stuff, and then going away and giving me a price. I feel guilty that I put somebody through that when
there's an argument in itself, because I know a lot of builders now are actually starting to charge for a call out.
Yeah, and I think they should. And I think they should, because it wasn't my intention at the beginning to do it myself. Like, I had these guys around because I was genuinely wanted to know how much it was going to cost, to see if I could get the money from the bank. And then when I realised, oh, that's way too expensive, then obviously I couldn't go with them, and it was a bit of a waste of their time, and I feel bad for that. Yeah. Well, there is the next project that I could tell you about, because obviously I'm in a house renovation and it's almost done. I've got a kitchen and a hallway to do, and then essentially the house is done. So what happens to Scott DIY when his house is fully done? Well, I'm like I said, I'm really ambitious. I'm really ambitious. I want to build a place from scratch. Yeah. And
does that mean you're going to move and build your own house?
I don't think it'll be my house.
Your missus will be like,
I know she is going to leave me, I'll tell you.
That's the whole idea. How can I get rid of that?
Exactly.
Just keep building houses.
But honestly, I want to put like all my care and attention into building something brand new. I think it's something. I mean, it's pretty mental, but it's a dream of mine, and I want to make a reality. I think it is possible with the social media following that I've got now, because there's a big disconnect between, like, how does somebody who's not in a building company and been in that industry for a long time, or come from a family of housing developers, understand how to buy some land, start building on it, and how did it go through that process?
Or even to get planning,
even to make the plans to do. So I don't know any of that stuff. I am just starting out from scratch. I'm going to put this all on YouTube, So it's probably going to be like just a really long, many years series that you can probably see an update every single week of how far I've got. And just like them grand designs, the relationship breaks down in the background.
We've had to sell it. We've got divorced. We've run out of money.
I've got 5 kids now. No, that all won't happen. But the house build will.
Never say never.
Yeah, well, speak
kids.
positively. Speak positively. I'm going to build this property and I'm going to share with everybody how it's done, because there's loads of other people out there who want to do the same sort of thing but don't really know where to start. And I'm just gonna do it.
Well, it's semi-educational as well.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have fun doing it as well. And I'm gonna have all the guys like Brad and Phil and
you never get
guys.
anything done.
I'm
You'd be
gonna get
like,
them all come round.
I've invited you guys up here. Nothing's happening.
Exactly. Well, it's just gonna be a load of fun.
Good fun.